Hey everybody, this is Cyrus again, supernatural researcher, author, and this is a video in case you're curious about what happens when somebody has an out-of-body experience. Last video I spoke about the common phenomenon of seeing around the room while your eyes are closed. Well, that's just a tiny piece of having an out-of-body experience. And it's just the tip of the iceberg of a much more complicated, detailed type of thing that can happen. So we ordinarily think of ourselves as being just one body. We know in ancient traditions dating back to the Egyptian Book of the Dead, as well as the Tibetan Book of the Dead, all ancient traditions have, via observational analysis, concluded that we have other bodies stacked. And many of us think that this is something that is more conceptual than literal. They think that another body is like a dream state, or it's something that's not literal, or it's just pure energy, which you could argue is correct because we're all energy. But many would be surprised that this is literally like another body, right? A body with blood vessels and nails and skin cells, the whole thing existing on a different vibrational frequency. So many people in their lives have full out-of-body experiences, if only very briefly. In fact, I've rarely spoken to anybody who hasn't had an experience like this. So, if you get past the initial stages of where maybe you're experiencing sleep paralysis, you're having some hallucinations, seeing some goblins walking around the room, or whatever it is that your subconscious cooks up while you're in this half asleep, half in, half out state, different things may happen. One is that very commonly you will hear an electrical buzzing or whirring sound or sensation, or both. What is this? Well, a lot of out-of-body writers have speculated about the science behind this. It seems to have something to do with literally cutting through a dimensional barrier, and it creates a whirring sound, it creates a feeling of dizziness, or even an electrical buzzing sound. This is the frequency changing. This is the knob on the cosmic stereo switching to a different channel. And this may happen within a second, or it may last for a few seconds. And when this happens, you may not realize you're out of body because it'll feel just like you're in your body. You might have this weird sensation of waking up and then waking up a second time. So you may get up out of bed after feeling this and be like, what's going on? Look around the room, and then suddenly, whoosh, you're back asleep again, or back to waking up again. So what's happening here is that you are literally going out of your body, snapping back to your physical body, and then sometimes going through the process again. So some people will report waking up and then being in their bed again, and waking up and doing this 2, 3, 4 times. And it's considered like this very weird, anomalous thing. This is a habitual out-of-body experience, right? And most of the time, people, again, don't realize that they're out of body, because when you're out of body, it can look and feel the same as when you're in your other body. Now, if you have some awareness that you're out of body, you may see a second limb coming out of a previous limb. You may lift a foot up and see foot number 2 coming out of foot number 1. That doesn't happen every day. What the heck's going on? You may also notice that foot number 2 is kind of translucent color compared to foot number 1, or it's see-through, just like Casper the Friendly Ghost. And this is literally why there is a pop cultural interpretation of a ghost being translucent, and also why some people see ghosts and spirits and they look translucent. This doesn't mean that they are translucent creatures. It doesn't mean that we are translucent in that body. What's happening is that there is a kind of like a cosmic dimensional error happening. It's in between one frequency and another. And because of that interference, a astral limb may temporarily look transparent. But once you're fully on that side and having a full experience on what we call the astral plane, then that transparency goes away. So that's very much a temporary thing. But when I've done this, I've observed my arm coming out of my physical arm, and it's translucent. What I've also noticed is that so long as my head is connected, then the experience still stays kind of grounded in this reality. And I can maintain that state for a long time until I choose to wake up. But once I disconnect my head from my three-dimensional, my 3D body's head, it's like immediately I'll find myself having an experience on what we call the astral plane. So it's almost like I have to disconnect that part of my body to be fully on that side. But until that happens, I can move my limbs up and down and experiment, observe my 4D hand, observe what it looks like, make a fist, experience feeling, sensation, and then decide to have a full out-of-body experience. So many people have these early stages, and they don't know what it is, and they just chalk it up to, well, that was weird, and they don't think about it again. Some people have even more advanced experiences, and they actually go up out of their bodies. Maybe they'll find themselves floating above and looking down at their bodies. Just like we hear about in near-death experiences, except this time, you're not close to death. You're perfectly fine. And this is, of course, something that opens the door to a lot of other types of experiences, which we'll go into in more videos coming up. So if you like this kind of thing, then please hit subscribe. Check out the links in the description of the video, because you can go to the Facebook group Afterlife Topics and Metaphysics. You can check out my classes at afterlifetopics.com/university. And you can also head to afterlifetopics.com. There's a lot of articles there, as well as links to my books. Well, that's it for now. Those are some of the preliminary stages to out-of-body experiences and what you can expect. And stay tuned for more videos coming up. I'll see you then.